Hello, my name is Aaron Fisher, and I am the Youth Livestock and Equine Specialist in the Department of Animal Science at the University of Tennessee.
And my name is Dr. Liz Eckelkamp, and I am the Dairy Specialist in the Department of Animal Science at the University of Tennessee. We are presenting a video study series focused on dairy-related topics for Skillathon. This episode will focus on feedstuffs. We will talk about several common feedstuffs fed to dairy cattle and how they are classified, their nutrient analyses, and the difference between feeds on an as-fed and a dry matter basis.
In the dairy industry, most farmers feed what we call a total mixed ration, or TMR. A TMR provides a completely balanced bite in each mouthful the cow takes. This allows farmers to intensively manage maintenance, growth, lactation or milk production, and reproduction. As we will see, there is quite a bit of variety among different types of feedstuffs. Because of this, we balance the diet to meet those needs based on dry matter intake, fiber content, both acid detergent fiber or ADF and neutral detergent fiber or NDF, protein and non-protein nitrogen, fat, energy, as well as vitamins and minerals.
Before we can build a ration, though, we need to understand the basics of feedstuffs, including visual identification and overall classification of feedstuffs. We recognize that in the dairy world, we may not use something like total digestible nutrients, or TDN, as often, but it is a good way to compare feeds at a beginner level.
It might seem strange to start a conversation about feedstuffs with forages. You really cannot talk about dairy cattle nutrition in Tennessee without forages, whether it is grazing or feeding silage. Forages are the basis of dairy cattle production in Tennessee. Because of the high nutrient demands of lactation or milk production, reproduction, and gestation, dairy cattle usually require additional nutrition. These situations are where feedstuffs are most useful.
Feedstuffs could be classified in many different ways. Today, we will focus on classifying for energy, protein, and minerals. Generally, a feedstuff is considered an energy concentrate when it provides at least 70% total digestible nutrients, or TDN. TDN is a measure of energy status that is used for cattle. If you talk about swine or other species, you would typically use a different energy value. A feedstuff is generally considered a protein supplement when it provides at least 20% crude protein, or CP. CP is a measure of the protein status of a given feedstuff. A mineral supplement is one that, obviously, provides minerals. There are many different minerals needed by dairy cattle and many different types of mineral supplements. It is very common for dairy cattle to be fed a complete mineral, which means that it supplies all minerals needed in one mixture. Today, we will focus on simple mineral sources. A more detailed discussion of minerals and total mixed rations will come in a later episode.
Before comparing feedstuffs, it is imperative to understand the difference between dry matter basis and as-fed basis. The difference in each basis is the presence of water. Because water levels can vary among feedstuffs, you cannot compare nutrient levels or even price of the feedstuffs unless water is removed from the equation. This would be like comparing apples and oranges. You must get each feedstuff on a dry matter basis, so you are comparing apples to apples. An as-fed basis is feedstuffs as they are fed with water present. Dry matter basis is feedstuffs without water present.
Just like you have always heard, math is important in everything you do, even dairy cattle nutrition. Going from an as-fed basis to a dry matter basis is actually pretty simple. You just use this formula. Nutrient level on an as-fed basis divided by percent of dry matter divided by 100. If we use corn as an example, it has 7.5% crude protein on an as-fed basis and has 86% dry matter. If you plug those values into the formula, it would be 7.5 divided by open parentheses 86 divided by 100 close parentheses. By working the problem, starting with the parentheses first, you end up with 7.5 divided by 0.86, which equals 8.7. In this example, our corn is 8.7% crude protein on a dry matter basis.
When you end up with both values, some people have a hard time remembering which is which. An easy way to remember is the percent value for a specific nutrient will always be larger on a dry matter basis because once the water is removed, that nutrient is a larger percentage of the total. In our corn example, 7.5% is on an as-fed basis and 8.7% is on a dry matter basis.
We are now going to highlight several feedstuffs that are commonly fed to dairy cattle. We will give a brief description including its classification, as well as the nutrient analyses on a dry matter basis. If you purchase a feedstuff or a feed mixture, the feed label will always have a nutrient analysis. This could include more nutrients than what we talk about today. We will focus on the most common, dry matter, or the level of nutrients without water, crude protein, or the level of protein, total digestible nutrients, which is the level of energy, and crude fiber, which is the level of fiber. Additionally, you will see a level of minerals like calcium and phosphorus.
The first feedstuff is whole shelled corn. Corn is a very popular grain crop grown in the United States for multiple industries. It is used in some fashion in all major livestock diets, including humans. Corn is commonly processed into cracked corn, ground corn, steam flaked corn, among others. It is considered an energy concentrate with 93% total digestible nutrients. It is relatively low in crude protein and crude fiber.
Like we talked about earlier, most dairy cattle are fed a total mixed ration, or TMR. One of the main ingredients of a TMR is silage. Silage is created by chopping up the entire plant from the leaves to the stems, in this case corn, and ensiling or fermenting it in a container of some kind. This can be an upright silo, a bunker silo, or a silage bag. Corn silage is a highly digestible forage that is relatively high in energy and digestible fiber, although it is low in crude protein.
Next is corn gluten feed. Corn gluten feed is a byproduct of the corn milling industry. It is considered a protein supplement with almost 24% crude protein and is also high in energy with 85.2% TDN.
Distillers Grains is a byproduct of the distilling industry that is also considered a protein supplement with 29.3% crude protein, while also being high in energy with 89.1 total digestible nutrients.
Shifting to soybean products, now we will start with whole soybeans. Soybeans are a popular crop grown for multiple industries. They are a protein supplement with over 42% crude protein. Soybeans are also high in energy at 94.4% TDN.
Soybean meal is a byproduct of the oil extraction from soybeans. It is a protein supplement with 54.5% crude protein. It is also high in energy with just below 90% TDN, and is relatively low in crude fiber. Soybean meal and soybean pellets are commonly fed to dairy cattle.
Soybean hulls are a byproduct of the processing of soybeans and is considered an energy concentrate with 71.4% TDN. It is moderate with protein at 12.1% crude protein and pretty high in fiber at 40.1% crude fiber.
Next, we will look at 3 feedstuffs from cotton. First is whole cottonseed. Whole cottonseed is a fiber crop grown for the cotton fiber. Whole cottonseed is a protein supplement at 25% crude protein that is also high in energy at almost 99% TDN and a fiber level of 28.3% crude fiber. Monogastric animals, like swine and poultry, cannot eat whole cottonseed because of the toxin gossypol. However, ruminants can safely eat this feed source. At a dairy I used to work on, our pet cow loved snacks of whole cottonseed.
Cottonseed Meal is a protein supplement at over 45% crude protein that is a byproduct of cotton ginning. It is also high in energy at 78% total digestible nutrients and moderate in fiber with 13.8% crude fiber.
The last feedstuff today is Cottonseed Hulls. Cottonseed hulls are a byproduct of the cotton dehulling process. Cottonseed hulls are pretty low in protein at 4.4% crude protein and moderate in energy at 52.2% TDN. They are considered an excellent roughage or fiber source at 47.8% crude fiber.
We will finish up with a few mineral supplements. The first is white salt. White salt is a common mineral supplement fed to dairy cattle and is a source of sodium and chloride. There are no other minerals supplied by white salt.
Trace-mineralized salt is basically salt that has some trace minerals added to it. An example of trace mineral added in is iron. Trace mineral salt is commonly fed to dairy cattle and provides a low level of trace minerals.
Limestone is a mineral supplement that is commonly added to dairy cattle diets to increase the calcium level in the feed mixture.
We will end with urea. Urea is a source of non-protein nitrogen, or NPN. It can be used by ruminants as a source of protein, as the microorganisms in the rumen of the animal can turn urea into microbial protein that can be used by the animal. So it's not really protein, but it can be turned into usable forms of protein by the rumen microorganisms. Cattle, sheep, and goats are all examples of ruminants.
That wraps up our discussion of common feedstuffs for dairy cattle. Please recognize that there are many more feedstuffs that are fed to dairy cattle, as well as more types of nutrients that we did not discuss today. We wish you the best of luck as you progress through your dairy cattle project. Please let us know if we can ever be of assistance. Thank you and have a great day.